For thousands of years, martial arts masters have trained their entire lives to achieve absolute perfection. And then there's me, a weak, untrained mortal getting my ass beat by a homeless dog. I decided to jump blindly into the Matchless Kungfu, a game where you're supposed to build your own wuxia legacy, master ancient martial arts, and become a legendary warrior. While 8-year-old monks are out here breaking bricks with their bare foreheads, I'm currently getting my bones broken by a random villager because I accidentally tried to steal from them. Is this game an underrated Sandbox masterpiece, or is it just pure unadulterated chaos? Let's find out. Starting the game, you're told that you were found injured on the ground. You quickly realize that they don't know who you are. You don't know who you are, and soon enough, you will come to realize that you will never understand any of this. But enough of the boring existential crisis prologue though. My rescuers decide to hand me something called an orgown, a piece of clothing explicitly designed to keep me from freezing to death. So now I'm standing here, zero memories, looking like an absolute NPC myself, but at least my hypothermia levels are under control. Fashion? Questionable. Survival? Barely. And before I can even process my new outfit, my rescuer tells me that I need to speak to the sect master. Apparently, they're the big boss around here, and if anyone knows what an amnesiac idiot is supposed to do next, it's probably them. But as I follow her into the sect hall, she literally just goes to sleep, and I was unable to wake her up. So what better way to continue than to begin to learn everything by my own? Screw this sect and screw the tutorial. Walking around outside the hall, I saw these dogs walking around. From hovering on them, I saw that they were wild. So what better training dummies existed than these dogs? And this is where this game's incredible fighting mechanics first come to play. And needless to say, these dogs were something else, because my weak ass didn't even manage to beat a stray dog. But luckily it wasn't after human flesh today. So after recovering, I could finally begin my journey into this incredible Chinese sandbox. And while exploring, I saw that this boss began to fill up around this character. See, whatever you do in this game increases your proficiency in that specific action. And why they decided to name jumping Qinggong is just another one of those things you would never really understand in this game, just like who you are and where you came from. And after having done some exploring and learning some beginner techniques, I decided to test them against a worthy foe. A chicken? Yes. Strong? Not really. But worthy of me? Absolutely. And by combining these kicks, I managed to get a charge with a groin kick. So what better way to defeat the chicken but by kicking him in the balls? So after having learned some fighting techniques, it was also time to learn how to do some sneaking. And I wanted to earn a quick cash. So I did the profound choice of trying to pick this lock. And apparently, trying to pick the lock of a stupid strong cultivator's chest without any prior experience didn't really work. Who would have guessed that, huh? And though I got away with my life, I don't think my leg has much good things to tell about this pitiful thievery attempt. And to try and earn some money so that I could treat my broken legs, I decided to build a residence so that at least I wasn't homeless. And who would have imagined that people were willing to buy my house? Realizing that this could at least earn me the money to heal my legs, I built another house and sold it too, so that I can finally repair my broken legs days after they got broken. And after fixing my legs at this flirtatious clinic manager, I continued my journey into the unknown. But not long after, I got stopped by this bandit who was here to rob me. Wait a second, argue with me? So in this game, you don't only fight with swords, but with words as well. And if you're good enough at debating, it's even possible to kill them through emotional damage. You debate by adding arguments, and the game is really bad at explaining how this really works. But all we need to know is that we want this number bigger than that number. And if we get this number down to 0 before ours does, we win. The game also helps us know that we are losing by showing us this blue bar at the top of the screen. How thoughtful. And as most of you could probably imagine, I didn't come out victorious from this heated debate. But luckily, he didn't really do anything other than reduce my spirits. Given that I had only taken L after L in this game, I needed a change of pace. So after beating this poor dog to a pulp, I gave it some bones and poo, and voila! We now have a pet horse, named Dishan. Wonderful. And what better way to bond with my new best friend than to gang up on a wild boar. Now that I've finally gotten some strength, and the fact that I'm strong enough to beat animals at least, I decided to try out another big mechanic of this game, the mini-world mechanic. In this game, you can choose to either go to the Great Wilds, which is a pre-made map from the developers, and it offers more of a coherent story and a logical progression. But with mini-worlds, you are the storyteller, and you're the one that creates the map. To get new lots, all you need to do is achieve the lot objective and then place down the lot. With placing down the Eagle Hunt platform, I had two objectives in mind. The first, it was to get the Enlightenment Stone, which is the requirement to level up my Qinggong past its current bottleneck. But my other objective was to try and tame one of these avian beasts. And this mighty bird, in contrast to my dog, didn't require poo to be tamed. It required flesh, and I was happy to oblige. And just how many of you had imagined it, I was able to fly if I was riding my eagle. Knowing the implications of this, I went back into the Great Wilds. My goal? To get an eagle there. With an eagle, exploration would be so much easier. But before that, I had been dying to test out my strength against another human for so long. And I realized that I was in a secluded spot, and I decided it was now or never. And look at that. No problem at all. So after putting this poor woman in a cave, stealing all of her belongings, arguing with her, as well as forcing her to give me one of her skills, I continued my original goal of getting myself an eagle. And after tracking one down via the map, all that was left was to give it some flesh and take to the skies. But after having felt the thrill of battle once, I just needed to continue fighting and going stronger. So I decided to go around sparring people. And after beating this level 4 guy as a level 3, I decided to go all the way with him. So after knocking him out, I robbed him blind, deprived him of his Kung Fu, and when I say I deprived him of his Kung Fu, I mean literally all of it. And then, to finish the job, I also took his head as a trophy. Little did I know that this would come to bite me in the ass later. And by later, I mean literally the day after, because I got hunted down by an enormously huge group of people, and knowing that there was no chance to win, I immediately gave up, hoping they'd spare me. But what they did next was something I'd never expect. They kidnapped me, looted me blind, and left me in a cage. So after taking some time to recover, I used one of my strongest martial moves to immediately break the cage down. And then I did the unthinkably smart move of going to sleep in the bandit's own bed in front of his eyes, to then brutally murder him right after resting. And after taking my loot back, as well as his old belongings, I took a moment to reflect. I had gone from a puny mortal to someone who might be able to contend with our own modern days Shaolin baby. So to eternalize my newfound power, I found myself a wife and decided to return to karma. And this also brings me to the last concept that I will be bringing up in this video. Although this game might look like an infinite sandbox where you just keep getting stronger, it also has elements of a roguelike, where you profit from the experiences of your past reincarnations. And when you're creating your next character, you're partly affected by the good and evil you did in your last life. And as you can see here, apparently the game doesn't really consider me as a saint. But you also get free karma points, where you can spend them on other upgrades. And instead of being an orphan, as you are in your first life, this time you can also choose your parents. So after choosing the parent which I thought was the strongest, I woke up on this farm. And when you look at that, my mother seems to be quite a cultivator. If you've been wondering if this game is worth a try, all I have to say is that even though it is a bit janky sometimes, it really is a gem in the rough. This has been one reincarnation. Just imagine the heights possible from doing even more reincarnations. But that is all from me, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. And please also leave your thoughts down in the comments. Bye bye, my fellow cultivators.